Hello and welcome. You're listening to the Modern Mystic Radio Show. My name is Sarah and we're on A1R Psychic Radio and Moonstruck TV. I'm just going to remind you very quickly about how you can get in contact with me outside of the show. If you would like a private reading, it's www.modern-mystic.co.uk, or you can find me on Facebook under Mystic Sarah and Modern Mystic. I do a regular free live psychic session once a week, so do tune in for that. I do have a special guest with me today, and I'm going to welcome him on. His name is Colin Flaherty, and he is a spiritual medium. Hello, Colin. Welcome to the show.
Hiya, Sarah. Thank you very much. Nice to be on here.
And it's very, very nice to have you on. So you would describe yourself as a spiritual medium. Is that right? Yeah. So tell us a little bit about how your journey started. When did you first realise that you had psychic ability?
Well, I grew up in a mixed family. So mum's side up to my great-grand were all mediums and all spiritualists. The other side was very devout Catholic. So it was quite a mix growing up. So in my early years, although I was brought up in it, my mother never drummed any of it into me. She just lived her life, so I never really knew where she was going in the week to the spiritualist church, etc. But she had a good moral, spiritual code that we were brought up with that I seem to have abandoned in my teens. So I had troubled youth growing up till my mid-20s, was married for 10 years, and then I got on with my own life. And after the big drama of the divorce and everything, then things seemed to start to direct me into that spiritual pathway. I had quite a few experiences, especially as a kiddie. I had a few bouts of what you would call out-of-body experiences as a teenager, 10, 11, 12 years old, which reoccurred after the divorce, etc. And I had another bout of them on a more extensive platform, if you like. I had visitations in my bedroom from not so pleasant things to me at that time because of my age. Had I been more aware, I would have dealt with it differently and received it differently. But being a kid, it was frightening. So I could literally feel people sat on my feet on my bed, or come right up by my face as I'm sleeping and be right in front of me, and it freaked me out, to be honest.
Were these people that you knew, or just
no? No, I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know them. No, I have no idea, to be honest.
And do you think that the emotional stuff that you went through with your divorce triggered all of that ability again, or
I wouldn't think it triggered it so much, Sarah, in as much as, you know, from my understanding, a lot of mediums in their younger life have to live a life that's quite full, and that you get drawn in directions that really test your emotional strength anyway. And so I had a traumatic youth, and then I had that divorce thing in itself was another experience. And I think you need to live all of that because that's what brings out the sensitivity in you. And then I think I just followed my natural path. It was always going to be, as far as I was concerned, but I had to live a bit first.
Absolutely. And, you know, how would you say that you work? I mean, there's a lot of sort of theory, I suppose, and people tend to assume that we wake up like this, being able to just read people. And, you know, from my experience and from all the people that I know as well, you know, we do a lot of training, we do a lot of work on ourselves. Isn't that right? Absolutely.
You know, I'm not the person I was. I really do, literally, and my family will tell you, my life, my personality, everything about me has been a 360. And because I wasn't necessarily into spiritualism at first, my first encounter with anything spiritual was a very good friend of mine that invited me to a meditation group. And because I wasn't aiming to be spiritual or mediumistic or trance medium or any of that, all I liked was the fact I was with some good people in a good environment, and I enjoyed the energy that we used to feel in that meditation group. I sat in that group for 6 years consistently, and not attending circles or groups, And for me, that was my grounding. And that for me is where the spirit, whatever they do to you when you sit in that space of power or meditation, that was where my building started.
And you've had some pretty amazing experiences as you've been working on your own sort of growth and development. You've had vision quests and all sorts of things like that. So just explain what those are.
Well, initially, I was in contact with the Crow tribe of Native Americans in Montana. My parents had moved to run a spiritualist church in Wheeling, West Virginia. They were there for 4 years, so I spent a lot of time there. And I got invited to a ceremony, which was called a sun dance, which is a 3-day prayer ceremony. And it's outside in the wilds, as you know. And it's a fasting event, so no food, no water for 3 days, but you're constantly praying for those days. And so I did 3 of those, which were the energy that goes through you, Sarah. I can only compare it to one of your spiritual experiences in your own life where you know something huge has happened and it's changed you and altered your makeup internally as well, spiritually. And so on each one of those, that they infused me with something that changed my thinking, my manner, my personality, and everything. I took parts in lots of cleansing ceremonies, what people would generally know as sweat lodges. Yeah. So I did those as well. And then my final thing was being sent up on my own in the Rockies in Montana to sit there for 4 days, 3,500, 4,000 feet up on my own in the mountains with no food and no water, and just instructed what to do. To get my medicine is what the Crow called it, my power. Yeah. I sat up on that mountain for 3 days, 4 sunrises, and did what I was told to do, and sat there and prayed for everyone but myself. That was the idea. And that's what I did. And again, that for me, that moment, even though the sun dances were huge, the vision quest on my own in a strange country, with the kind of wildlife round and about you, like wolves, bears, blah, 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 we don't get here. So that on its own for me was a huge overcoming of fear. And every time the bush moved or I heard something, it was either, for me in my head, bear or a wolf. And so it was terrifying. I didn't sleep for the first 30 hours, I don't think.
Oh, my goodness. My goodness. And you now have trance medium ability. So when did that come in for you, and how explain what it is and how that works for you?
So at the end, so in that last 2 years in the meditation group, I started feeling different things. And then as I'm sat with my eyes closed in the group, I felt myself being manipulated. So as if someone was looking through my closed eyes at the rest of the group and studying energies that were sat within that group. I never told anyone ever what was going on with me. I never told my mum, who would have been an ideal candidate to explain. I just sat with it week in, week out for those last few years. Then when I left that group and I was moved on to other things, I started sitting at home. And then my best friend, Andrew Grant, who had been a trance medium practicing and demonstrating 10 years before, said he would come and sit with me. And then we sat. So for a total, I sat for nearly 8 to 10 years before I did anything in the trance field. And that now is getting close to 20. So I've been actively demonstrating in that for at least the last 8 to 10 years.
Wow. I mean, that sounds absolutely amazing. And what would you say, if there was one thing that you could take from your spiritual journey so far, what is the one major lesson or one thing that you've learned that's the most valuable to you?
My goodness, Sarah, one thing.
You could put 2, you could add 2 or 3 if you want.
Excuse me. Wow. To pick one out of everything. So when you embark on the spiritual, for me, I guess I'm always going to look at the person I was to the person I am because of the spiritual thing. And so I said to you earlier about this 360. I'm a good person now. I care about people. I don't always put myself first, but I do take care of myself. I'm as important as anyone else, so I've also taken that on board. Other people need to live their lives and suffer their own consequences as well, you know. So that for me would be the biggest thing. And if I'm allowed the second one, to be able to feel physically, not just in the mediumistic way of sensing and feeling and getting those pictures and the feelings, what have you, but excuse me, but in the trance state, you literally feel the physical presence of the spirit. And they use you and they speak with their voice and they use their knowledge, and you feel their physical presence within you, even though they're not within you. That's how it feels. So connecting and feeling the energy, the power, the love, the absolute peace, the bliss of connecting purely with the spirit world is worth all of those years and all of those years of heartache and trouble and misfortune. It's worth it all. And as difficult as all of that was, I would sacrifice it and do it all again to feel this.
Wonderful. Oh, that sounds fantastic. Both in the UK and the US, is that right? So whereabouts are you working at the moment?
At the minute, I'm working at home. I work from home. My partner runs a spiritual centre come coffee shop thing as well, locally. So I mainly work from home and use the same sorts of social media that you do. And just so I get my calls, the local spiritualist churches ring me. People that hold private public demonstrations ring me to go and do demonstrations at halls and things. And twice a year on average we go to America. I've also worked in Australia, New Zealand, Canada a little bit, but America more significantly.
Wonderful. And when's your next trip planned to America?
August, hopefully. California.
Okay, and if people wanted to book with you or get hold of you privately, how do they do that?
Well, if they've got the Facebook thing, which I don't like, but it's good for the work, then I'm on Facebook as Colin Flaherty Spiritual Medium, and you can find me on there. Website going up any day that's been worked on. So that's basically it, but they can also get me through my partner centre, which is the Mystic River Lounge, which is also on Facebook.
And that's based in Portsmouth in the UK, isn't it?
South Coast in Hampshire, yeah. Okay.
Right, thank you very much. We're going to go straight on to our first caller. Okay. And we have Connie in Las Vegas, Nevada. Connie, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Thank you very much. Welcome to the show, Connie. Do you have a question for Colin tonight?
Colin, I am wondering if I'm going to regain mobility in my arm and my leg on the left side. I had a stroke and now I'm suffering paralysis.
Well, now this is one of those very difficult questions because you're asking me a direct question about health. And I think it requires medical knowledge for something of that nature. To diagnose when I have no medical knowledge, I think would be not a great thing on my part, you know. So that's something that for me to say, yes, you will, and then maybe it doesn't, it's a big ownership to give a statement of that nature, you know.
Oh, I understand, yeah.
You know, I would feel extremely terrible to tell you that you wouldn't, and then, so that's not something that's in the stars, that's something that's in your health and your condition, you see.
Okay.
But I will tell you
I appreciate your honesty.
Let me tell you this, that thoughts are things, we are all living things. This physical thing reacts to what goes on inside. We have a spirit within us. And when we imbue that spirit with a positive thought and a positive energy, let me tell you a very quick 2-minute true story. A fella had an accident and his spine was crushed. And this is somebody that I know of. went to hospital and was told he would never, let alone sit up, walk again. He would be parallel, horizontal for the rest of his life. He was a Buddhist in faith. He was a Buddhist in faith. While he was laid on that bed for 3 months, he meditated every single day and told body it would heal. In 7 months, he was walking.
Oh my stars, that's awesome.
So you see, mind plays a huge part. It is energy. Thought is energy. Imbue your thoughts, trust, and tell your soul, tell yourself, your true self, I will be okay. That is as much practical and spiritual advice as I can give you, not being a doctor.
I'm not being charged for this, right? My son is in the background.
No, not at all. No, not at all. Do you have another question that's outside of health that perhaps you would like to ask Colin?
Yes, I would like to ask Colin another question. I'm currently involved in a relationship with someone I met online in Jamaica. I mean, is this true love or is this a scam?
Let me just pull something here. There's something here that says you're searching for a peace that you've not had for a long time. And it also says to me that there's a slight imbalance of the scales in things within your life circle personally that need to be balanced and addressed before you can find your own pathway and where you're meant to be headed. There is something here also about divine intervention, which for me is things that are written in the stars. So for me, before things take their natural course, there are things you need to address in your own personal life. For me, my feeling about this relationship here, there's a thing here about choices and you yourself. This is what's in my mind. And so I'm saying to you, move forward with caution. Move forward with caution. If something doesn't feel right, it's generally not. You know deep in your heart when things are right because you just do them. When there is this air of caution, which for me says that you have this air of caution about you and you can feel it within you, there is a reason for that. Trust your intuition, and you as a woman have a greater intuition than us men generally, so trust it, go with it. But there is something here that says you come to a key decision. Your decisions are what count. They rule the rest of your life. When you make this decision, make sure your heart, your soul, and your mind are all on the same page and that you feel good about it from 3 aspects. If you don't, trust your intuition and look elsewhere.
Does that help you, Connie? Hello, Connie, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can. So does that help you, Connie?
Yes, that was very helpful.
Okay, well, thank you so much for coming through to us.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, Connie.
Enjoy a wonderful day.
Thank you, guys. Take care.
Okay, thank you. So while we wait for another caller to come through, just tell us a little bit about your future plans. Do you have anything in the pipeline that you would like to talk about today?
Yeah, I have a lot of ideas within my mind. I mean, I took a break from this for about 20 months. And so I've only recently come back into it over the last 3 months. And there's been such a transformation of energy from where I left off. So things just seem to be moving so much smoother. There's a lot more power. Excuse me. We've been sitting. I set up a physical group for physical phenomena. And even, excuse me, Sarah.
That's okay.
Even in the first week, we had some lovely signs that things were happening. So I'm going to pursue the physical phenomena in the seance surroundings. Pursue that. Obviously, lots more travel. I'm an Aquarian, and I'm a full-blooded Aquarian, so I'm a wanderer by heart anyway. So I want to travel. and I want to incorporate my spiritual work always within that travel. So that's mainly where I'm aiming for, what I'd like to do.
Wonderful. Right, we're going to go on to our next caller. We have Heather in, is it Placerville, California? Heather, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I don't know whether I pronounced that right. I hope I did. I'm going to pass you over to Colin. I'm very aware that we are sort of running a little bit thin on the line for time. Do you have a question for Colin tonight?
I've had a few rough years, and I'm kind of not knowing where my future is headed, and I'd really like to know. And the other thing is will I find somebody that's really, truly going to care about me? That's all.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, so let's go straight to where your future lies, because the other question will answer itself. And don't forget, you have free will. And if you put yourself out there, I believe there's always someone for everyone. There's someone out there for each and every one of us. But as I sit here, Heather, the first thing that comes here is a new beginning. So, and that's the first thing that hits me here. And it's a new start, a new beginning, and it's all about you, yourself. So I would urge you to make plans to start new projects, to start new things, because the energy is with you, okay? The energy is with you. And I've also got the ending of something. So I don't know what you're involved in particularly, but there is the closing of a door on something now, foreign. Do you understand me?
I do understand that, and it's kind of happening as we speak.
Good, because that door is closing, darling, and you're moving into a new era. Now, there's also something here. Now, as I don't know you as a person, but what I'm saying to you is, don't be gullible, don't be fooled by anyone. There's something around you, or an energy, or a person, or a situation around you where I need to be guarded and not give too much of myself too openly and too quickly. So watch who's around. It makes sense? Good. So watch who's around, and just, kind of zip your mouth a little bit and just keep some of yourself to yourself. Okay?
Okay. Yes.
So
yes.
The future looks good. The future looks good to me. The future looks promising. There is a little thing here about where you will need to be strong over the next couple of months. Now, I don't know what situation is going on in your life at present, but I understand from what I'm getting here that you're under a bit of pressure personally.
Yes, definitely. Definitely. I've been homeless, and I work.
Okay. So what I'm going to say to you is, if you picture a tree is very well grounded, its roots are deep, and it will hold it steady. And when the wind blows, it will bend in the wind, and it may even lose a few leaves, but it will not break. So I'm saying to you that in this moment, you may be blown by the wind a little, and you may bend, but you will not break. You have a strength within you. And you're a stronger personality than you believe. So go with it, go forward, make those new plans, and as soon as you do, the energy will go with you and you'll go forward.
Oh, good. Restores my faith.
Good.
Well, thank you so much, Heather. We are going to have to leave it there. We're running to the end of the show. I do think. Yeah.
Thank you, Heather.
I can do it.
Yeah, you can.
Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That was absolutely wonderful guidance, actually, from you, Colin. It was actually quite spellbinding to listen to. So just remind everybody very quickly of how they can contact you directly once again.
Okay. If you go on Facebook and you look for Colin Flaherty Spiritual Medium or Colin Flaherty Trance Medium, one way or another you'll find me, or you can find it through Mystic River Lounge. Kate. So that will also be on there. And then if you wish a reading or whatever, we can do it through Skype or whatever. But that's how you get hold of me. Or I'll be in California if you live that way. And maybe we can arrange something in August for August. Thank you all for listening.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us, Colin. I'm just going to remind you all again, if you would like to get hold of myself for a reading, or you just want to find out a little bit more about what I do, the website's www.modern-mystic.co.uk. I'm going to wish you all a lovely week ahead, and I shall see you the same time next week. Goodbye for now.